mess we're about to get into right now.
Sit your $5 ass down before I make change.
Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Black on Black Cinema. I'm your host, Jay. I'm here with my co-host, Micah.
Hey.
And Tiara.
Hey.
All right, guys, we're back. This is episode 215, The Defiant Ones. This is the 1958 film starring Sidney Poitier and Tony Curtis about two criminals who are chained to each other. They were in like a chain gang when their truck crashes as they're being driven somewhere, and they escape, and they are forced to be next to each other as one white man and one black man. Trying to find freedom. So, obviously we did this because of the recent death of Sidney Poitier. We wanted to, highlight more of his work. I had not seen this, but obviously it's like a pretty famous Sidney Poitier movie. I'll start. Look, I thought it was really good. There's some great dialogue here. Sidney Poitier is fantastic, as he always is in everything. Tony Curtis is also very good. I mean, which is also shouldn't come as a shock. He's a good actor too. But they had some really good, interesting dialogue. It's interesting because it almost feels like it's definitely based on a book, as like they go from like scene to scene as they like stop and then have these like sort of major conversations. But I enjoyed it. It kind of makes me want to watch the 1986 version with Carl Weathers, and not watch the HBO documentary about Jimmy Iovine and Dr. Dre, because it has nothing to do with it, but also called The Defiant Ones, about a black fella and a white guy. So yeah, look, I enjoyed it though. I thought Defiant Ones was very good. Micah, what say you?
Yeah, I agree. I thought this movie was very good. It's a movie that, unfortunately, still is relevant. Right? Like, essentially, this movie is about getting over our racial biases and seeing that, we are human beings.
Turns out.
Right. Go figure. But, I always love Sidney Poitier. I know he doesn't write everything that he's in, but he has such a commanding, like, authoritative tone. And I'm not talking about like Keith David has an authoritative. I'm not talking about the voice. I'm talking about the tone in his words. Like, he don't take no shit. And I really like that. Especially because Sidney Poitier is like, he's a little bit of a, he looks like a little bit of a, like, he looks too handsome for that. You know what I mean? Like, does that make any sense? Like,
yeah, he looks, you would normally assign it to like a tough guy, like a Carl Weathers type of guy. You'd be like, yeah, that makes sense.
Right. But Sidney Poitier is just so like classically handsome that you wouldn't expect like this. Like, I ain't taking no shit from nobody, even you, white man. Like, oh, Jesus Christ. Right, but it's good. It's also right. It's also refreshing. It's like Carlton Banks, like just being like go fuck yourself, whitey. Like, what the fuck? But I love it. And this movie has some pretty interesting dialogue about race relations and just like the power of words and ultimately this movie is I came away with a couple things. One, don't trust white women. I mean,
damn it, Micah,
you ain't
gonna be mine.
Got to tell me. and two, everybody hated the cops, yo. Like, I don't understand what the fuck. Like,
it's actually funny because they have like such a lackadaisical attitude. Like, it's weird for a movie like this. The cops are just like, whatever's happening, I don't really. Like, they play light music every time it cuts to them. They're like, do 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 do. Like, it's just like not serious.
There's literally a dude listening to something on his headphones and just like not doing his job.
Yeah,
and I mean, like nobody. Like, nobody wanted to cooperate with the cops, right? Like nobody, right? Like, because I don't know if white people nowadays like realize, like, if you break the law, they coming after you too, guys. Like, everybody used to hate the cops, yo. And somewhere along the line, like, white people got it in their head got it back in their head that, like, well, no, they only come after niggas. Right. Not me. I'm a white man. Like,
that line, I cracked up. You can't do that to me. I'm a white man. Like, that shit was hilarious.
Again, relevant even today. But no, This movie is very, very good, and I highly recommend it. Not a long watch. Nominated for a bunch of awards. Sidney Poitier was the first black male actor to be nominated in any acting category of the Academy Awards, earning a Best Actor nomination for this film. Yeah, man, it's pretty good.
TR?
I mean, y'all kind of just said everything I wanted to say, especially about the white woman bit, because when I was watching, I was like, white women, again, being a fucking problem.
What I'll tell y'all, man. What I'll tell you.
Like, also, I was just like, you just met this man? You don't even know his name. Like, and that poor kid, like, he's going to hate his mom forever. No, I agree with everything you two said. It feels like a movie like this could be made today and be done well, because there's still so many themes that we still have to talk to white people about, especially like the whole condescending thing white people do when we try to tell them about our problems and experiences, but they're like, oh, you're just being too sensitive, or you have to learn how the real world works. And, you have Sidney Poitier's character being like, I don't need anybody to tell me about how the real world works. I know I'm in this body all the time. I know how life works. Micah, I agree with you on like Sidney Poitier's dominating presence, but for me, it's like the sharp look he gets in his eyes. Like, and there's a scene towards the end, we'll get there, but like the scene where they're in, when they're discussing like leaving the farm, and Sidney overhears, or Cullen overhears their plans to leave. And you just see him in the mirror. And I was just like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. And then you turn to him, and like the way he looks, honestly, he looks like a parent that's like been watching you and is just waiting to go off on you. And like he's waiting for you to lie. He's waiting for you to just like tell him a fib right then and there. I read that originally Marlon Brando had been cast as Johnny, but they wanted Sidney Poitier so badly that they waited for Sidney to finish up another project, and Marlon Brando dropped out, and that's how they got Tony Curtis to take his place. But they really wanted
him and Brando, that would have been insane. That would have been a pretty insane cast. I mean, Tony Curtis is not, he's not a slouch by any means, but he's not Brando either. Like, wow, that would have been kind of amazing to watch, actually.
Yeah.
So you bring that up. Elvis wanted the role also, and he wanted to.
No,
did he want to play Sidney Poitier's role?
Oh no, he wanted to.
Black black stealing ass.
He wanted their only black friend, the only black person that everyone in that group knew, Sammy Davis Jr. He wanted him to play the Cullen role. But Elvis's manager convinced him not to do it.
Yeah, we don't want you going on screen saying nigga in the first 2 minutes of the goddamn movie. Probably not a good idea.
Also, I read that Tony Curtis requested that Sidney Poitier's name be above his in the opening credits.
Yeah.
And I thought that was pretty cool.
That's dope.
This movie was also kind of stressful to me because I definitely felt like during one scene, like I was like, I don't know how many of these white male extras are acting. Like they really feel like it feels like they were like, hey guys, you want to act out a lynching? And they're like, hell yeah.
They're like, acting? It was Friday night. This is what we do. What y'all doing here? Oh shit, the cameras in? That's crazy. Man. That's crazy.
Also, like the fact that this movie was released in 1958, which was a long time ago, but also not that long ago.
And it's not. Yeah,
nah, it's not that long.
It feels
it's within my father's lifetime.
Right.
It's in
right. My mother was alive.
Lifetime. But my grandfather was at
All
this
right, you
point
gotta
11
relax. You
years
gotta
old.
relax. You gotta relax. All right.
Like
My
so,
great
like,
grandfather was 30 by then. Like, all right.
it just shows you like a lot of these things that we're still dealing with. We just haven't been, it makes you wonder if we've made a ton of progress. But when I watch this movie, I'm like, yeah, you can make this today. I mean, I feel like today someone will probably like turn into a comedy or whatever and not really take it very seriously. But I'm like, this was only back in 1958.
Right. I mean, it's
like
the funny thing is like you could, I generally don't like the ideas of like, could you make this movie today or not? Like, I don't like those comparisons. Like, you can make Blazing Saddles today. Like, why would you want to? Like, just make something else. But the times are different. But it would be interesting to see this remade in the modern era because of how people take social commentary now. So I'd be interested to see. I'm sure it would be incredibly irritating to me.
It would be,
but
it would be irritating because you would have people maybe on social media be like, "You can't. This is a basic ass dialogue about race. It's oversimplified thing about race," and it's just like, okay,
it's not as good. It's not as good and as accurate about race as Karen was, which was one of the best movies I've seen this year.
I think you guys are forgetting that this movie was remade in somewhat of a modern era. In 1996, a little movie starring Lawrence Fishburne and Stephen Baldwin, called Fled.
I hate you, yo. I hate you.
Two prisoners chained together who flee during an escape attempt gone bad. I mean, it's the same
Baldwin.
movie.
Stephen Baldwin is the worst Baldwin, yo. He's the worst one. He's the worst.
Is that the Trump
Stephen
one?
Baldwin,
yeah.
Stephen Baldwin was like a hacker or some shit. Like,
all right. Because I remember when I said, "Hey, we're gonna do the Defiant Ones," Michael was like, "Didn't they? Isn't that basically the same as the movie Fled?" And I believe I said, "Go fuck yourself," which feels right. It feels like something I would have said. Go Fled. Oh, wow, that's episode 216. We're gonna see how it works in the modern era.
And they turned it into a buddy action comedy. So,
yep. Oh God,
they fucked it up.
They
didn't get it.
Good Lord.
Oh shit.
Also,
the movie.
Never mind. I forgot.
The movie opens up on a rainy night in the American South. And there's a truck loaded with prisoners. Not allowed to say paddy wagon because I believe that is racist against patties.
I never knew that. That's hilarious.
It's anti-Irish. So
yeah, it is. Nah, yo, I'm not giving that up. Fuck out of here. Fuck out of here, yo. That's fucking funny. Yo, mad cops were Irish. Yo, that was just true. How was that offensive? That was a job. It's a real paying job. Nah, yo, paddy wagon forever. Knock it off. You're just gonna have to deal with that. Sorry, Andy.
How conservative are you, Jay?
Nah, yo, sorry, Andy. Yo, it's a paddy wagon. Knock it off. He's a redhead. He'll deal with it.
A truck loaded with prisoners in the back swerves to avoid an oncoming truck, crashes through the Jersey wall. A bunch of rescuers come to clean up the debris, and they discover that two prisoners have escaped. Prisoners were a black man shackled to a white man because, quote, the warden had a sense of humor. During that truck ride, we established that Joker, the white man, and Cullen, the black man, don't really care for each other. Like Cullen is like singing like old Negro spirituals and shit, and Joker was like, "Nigga, will you shut up?" and Sidney Poitier, again, like, you call me a nigga, I'll fucking kill you. Like,
yeah, right. It started off all the way up here. It was pretty high up. Like, God damn. I mean, I get it.
Yeah, I get it.
Don't take that
I ain't
shit.
mad at him. So we get introduced to a couple of sheriffs and his deputy, who sounds like Adolf Caesar, like a white Adolf Caesar.
Yeah, he did.
He's got this kind of voice. Well, will you tell the man to go and search for that nigger and that white man? And and these cops are like kind of like the Keystone Cops a little bit. Like they're not really like it's not about them. They're just like the MacGuffin, basically. They're there to make sure the plot keeps moving.
I mean, like quite literally in the story, every time they cut to them, there's like this light kind of like goofball-ish music playing under it. Like to just so you know, don't take these guys seriously at all. Right. So it's kind of a funny film move.
So they round up a posse, right? Like they get a bunch of locals to come out, and they all got guns and pitchforks and hatchets and shit. And they're like, "Hey, let's do this. Let's find these guys." And the main sheriff, the guy in charge, is like, just everybody calm down. We'll find them. He seems to be the only like humane one,
right?
Like he's not. Right. Like, he's not like, yo, I ain't trying to kill these guys, yo. Like, I'm trying to bring them into justice.
Right.
And, which is, admirable that he's doing his job.
It's rare, right? Like, it's actually like legitimately a rare perspective on a cop. Because normally in these kind of stories, it's like, let's get him dead or alive, but mostly dead. Right. Like, but he's just like, just doing my job. Just bring him in. So I go back to, being a lawyer and making $6,800 a year, just not a lot of money.
So a lot of this movie is
probably have a GoFundMe.
Shut up. Shut up. A lot of this movie is the two of these guys trying to plan their escape, trying to figure out what to do, and trying to get along, even if it's just to get along. And they have the movie's at its best when it's just Tony Curtis and Sidney Poitier talking. Mm-hmm. And like in the first couple scenes, they're really at odds with one another, to the point where it's like, one it's gonna come a time where you and we're gonna have it out.
And they do.
And that's it.
No, I did like the conversation, and I don't know if this is where you're getting ready to go, but I did like the conversation of Tony Curtis's character. He's like, "Hey, why don't we head south? I know somebody not too far from here, and like we'll be good."
Like, hell no.
And everybody is like, "The south? Like, yo, we going north to freedom. Like, get out of here, yo." He was like, "I know a place, a turpentine factory or whatever, that's 60 miles north of here. Like we are going towards more liberal north." And the guy's like, "No, but I know somebody down here." He's like, so you gonna be all right, and then my black ass gonna be a nigga in a strange white town. No, yep. I don't think so. We going 60 miles north. Which is hilarious.
It is literally like the whitest thing to not consider someone outside of yourself and the danger that you could be putting a person of color.
Yeah, quite literally. Yep. And also, I mean, it's obvious, like we are seeing it with 2021 or 2022 eyes of not considering others, but it is very, very accurate for a white man to definitely not consider a black man in 1958 like their safety. He don't give a shit about like, oh, you gonna be a nigga in the town? Well, that's your fault. That's not my fault. I wasn't born black. Like, so it's kind of interesting because there's a number of times, and there's a conversation that comes up soon after this, where he literally has to remind Joker. He's like, yeah, X, Y, and Z is going on. And he's like, that's an interesting analogy. Allow me to point out how that affects me as well. And he's like, oh, as a white man, I had never thought about that, because you never had to. And again, very relevant to today.
So after the posse and the bloodhounds are dispatched, we see the guys cross a ravine, just like some whitewater rapids. Right. And apparently filming was very, very arduous, right? Like they had stunt doubles, but the stunt doubles were only there for like major stuff. Like you can clearly see.
I hope this was a major scene.
No, that is them.
Nah,
in
yo,
that
that's
water.
them.
That is them in that water.
That was
That
them?
is them in that.
Because
Yeah,
like
that's
Sidney
them in that
Poitier was
water.
like 2
That's
seconds
them
away
in
from
that
drowning.
clay. Yeah, you heard him. He was like, I damn near swallowed half the river.
That line wasn't even in the script.
Right. And I'm pretty sure Tony Curtis wasn't playing when he said like, what do you mean saved you? I was trying to keep you from pulling me in.
Right, yo, that was a mad, like, I'm like, that's a mad selfish thought, but at the same time, it's 1958. So he was like, I don't care. I just have to walk around with a dead nigga's hand on connected to me. Like, it is what it is. I don't want to die.
We get a brief scene of the sheriff and the deputy. This the deputy. The deputy that sound like this, and the sheriff is like the humane guy, and the deputy is all about. Well, he looks like a state trooper. The state trooper is all like, "Look, we need to get these motherfuckers now. You know, you want to take a rest. These boys, they got a half a day head start. Like, come on, man." He was just like, and the sheriff's just like, "Come on, man, like just chill. They got a rest too, right? The movie got to happen."
Yeah, exactly.
Then we come to a very interesting scene. First of all, these two loud ass niggas are creeping up on a bullfrog, and and they real quiet. They're real quiet. And then all of a sudden they make all the noise in the world, right? So they
Gotcha,
can
bitch.
they can beat this frog with some sticks. And then they dine on frog legs.
This is how I know that I can't survive in any other time period because no.
You're not eating frog legs?
Yeah.
I've had frog legs. They're gross.
Yeah,
well, they just taste like
you don't wanna
they taste like chicken.
They taste like chicken. I don't mind frog
Yeah.
legs. I've had frog legs. I just don't want to see how it's made. That's all. I don't want to make.
That's what I'm saying. Like the whole kill it and then like put it over the fire and then they were going to town on that frog too. I was like,
I guess my question is like, yo, it's a frog. Like the second you jumped out of that bush, that frog is gone. You know, like
Right, yo,
also you got
made,
like mad noise and two giant sticks. How big is this frog, yo? Like you would have pulverized it. Like,
clearly big enough to feed two grown ass men.
yeah, they were. I mean, they seem happy. They got the energy back. By the way, I would just like to point out, to the point that I made earlier, I may have suggested that we were not going to give up the term paddy wagon. I have checked in with our Irish ancestry co-podcaster in the network. He says he is deeply offended by the term, and I said, well, he's just going to have to deal with it. So I don't care. Is it ableist? I don't know. I don't know what the term is, but
I think it's
just
Irish people are racist.
It's policeism.
It's policeism. Nah, yo, paddy wagon is a dope term. Come on, yo. Yeah, that shows employment. Like Irish people gonna be all right. Yo, I'm not letting that one go, yo. Nah, yo, you're not gonna liberal out paddy wagon for me. No, never. No.
This conversation is so funny.
If you knew all the behind the scenes of that, yeah, it's fucking hilarious. I'm not letting go of paddy wagon. Knock it off. Yeah, so they beat the piss out of this frog. That's fucked up.
And they dine on frog legs, and as you do when you dine on frog legs over a campfire, you start having some very interesting conversations. You start to reminisce, and Joker's like, I used to park cars. Joker passed Cullen some frog leg or whatever, and he said thank you, and it's just apparently the words thank you were a trigger for Joker. He was like, I hate that shit. I used to park cars
the word
at this
thanks.
fancy
the word thanks.
Yeah, thanks. He was like, I used to park cars at this hotel. I used to have to say that shit all the time. The bigger the thanks, the bigger the thank you, sir, the bigger the tip. And sometimes that didn't even happen, right? And Cullen is like, yeah, figures. And the white man is like, what the fuck you know about having to be subservient? Boy,
right, like
huh?
Listen, I was like, oh, okay.
I was like, oh, this is the part Sidney Poitier gonna kill Tony Curtis in the first 10 minutes of the movie. That's crazy. That's wild. I guess it's just the Defiant One. Just one guy gonna make it to the end. Like, God damn.
It was during this conversation where I was like, I feel like in the script, the lines just said, white man and black man just have a conversation about race. We're not even going to make lines for you. Just have a regular old conversation.
It's like Curb Your Enthusiasm. They just give an outline, just go. What you want to do? What you want to talk about?
He was like, you ain't going to call me boy, right? You better stop calling me that shit. And he was like, all right, man. Right? Like being like, condescending and shit and facetious, and he's basically like they have this conversation that's really it's a really good scene.
Yeah, because his whole point is that, like, Tony Curtis's point or Joker's point is that, like, that word, thanks is a loaded word. So when you're forcing people to say it, and it has all this meaning behind it, and people don't realize, like, how shitty that word is. And he's like, you know what I mean, boy? And Sidney Poitier is like, hello? Like, yeah, like the word boy with me. Like, don't call me that shit. Like, because you don't realize the power and the history behind that word towards black men, right? So, yeah, and it is a very good conversation.
He even goes back and is like, is this all because I called you a nigga? It's like, yes.
Right.
Yes. Don't even fucking say it. Yes.
Yeah.
And he's like, and this is an excuse that I've heard white men say. It was like, well, it's just a word. Like, I don't have any.
You can call me a honky.
You can call me a honky if you want. And he's like, and Tony and Colin is like, you ever heard of the nursery rhyme, catch a honky by his toe? No. The song is catch a nigga by his toe.
Right.
Like, it doesn't, it's like, well, it depends on how you mean it and all that. Like, nah, like it's the same stupid ass conversation that you have with the type of white man that likes to say things like, let's argue and shit like that. Like it's the same, like, feigning ignorance that generally white men have. And he was like, well, I didn't make the rules, right? Like, yeah, he says, I didn't make the rules. You a nigger, everybody lives by them.
Right.
Right. Like, everybody's stuck with what society calls them, even the fucking animals and shit. It's just like, nah, like that shit don't fucking play, man. Like, this is the scene where I was like, well, I'm all in on this movie. Like, this movie can do no wrong.
Yeah, because it's an honest conversation.
Yeah, it's an honest conversation, and honest conversations are things that we don't have in society now. We don't.
No, we don't.
Scared, and we don't. It doesn't. If we need to have more movies have honest conversations like this, fine. But at the same time, like, someone will see this, and what would a person from your generation, the problem generation, TR, what would they say about a scene like this?
Much like Fraser Crane.
What would BuzzFeed say about a scene like this?
Well, before you answer, much like Fraser Crane, I'm listening. Go ahead.
Why is your face like that? Please stop.
Because I can't wait. Because I can't wait to see you tap dance your way around this one.
Well, clearly, people of my age and generation, older millennials or semi-older millennials at this point, because we're in our 30s, we would see the nuance in the scene and how important it was to have this kind of dialogue at this time. And we would look at this scene with, this scene has a lot of, how do you put it, gravitas, and is an important conversation.
Motherfuckers can't even spell gravitas. Get out of here.
No, I think what you're really asking is, Mike, is how would social media, which spans your generation and mine, as well as people younger than me, how would they take this? Because
terribly.
And I can tell you, they would say that this was a simplified conversation on race, and this doesn't do anything for anyone. It's more about something capitulating to whiteness, blah 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 blah, and not really seeing the scene for what it is. No, people would have super shallow takes about it, or the hottest takes that would get them the most engagement, even if it's nonsensical.
Yeah, I saw. Incidentally, I saw someone post. Speaking of like bad takes about things like this, like I saw someone today actually say, you know, they posted a picture of Pam from Martin, and they were like, you know, how could anybody like, you know, it's wild that how could anybody think that Pam wasn't fine on Martin? And I was like, that was the joke.
That's not true.
No, but like
But
that's
also,
the joke that Martin found
Right.
her unattractive, like because anyone with functioning eyes could, and
Right.
like it's an inside,
That's-
like that's the joke, McBain, right? But someone wrote
Yes.
because colorism. It's an inside joke to black. Yo, stop making it into a thing that it's not.
Also, it's
Yo,
literally
first of all-
also Martin was literally the only character that did not find her. Every
Right.
other male character found her attractive.
Right? Yeah.
Right.
It's,
Just
it's
have
an
you
inside
ever
joke.
watched the show?
You know why he didn't? You know why he didn't say, "Hey Pam, you're attractive"? Because that was his girlfriend's best friend, yo. Like, what the fuck?
Shut up, Micah. Why are you breaking off?
Right.
Like, come
It's
on, yo.
colorism.
What
Like the inside joke is that Martin is the only. He's like it's an inside joke proving that Martin is the only person on the outside. Right. Like that's comedy, my nigga.
that
like,
was
comedy.
literally a part. That was literally a bullet point of Cole Brown's character, yo. That he wanted to fuck the shit out of Pam.
Right.
Come on, man.
And Tommy did.
And he did, even though he had no job. Sad.
All right, yo. All right.
But like,
Ah.
but the point here is like missing. It's like a forest for the trees sort of situation, right? Like this conversation about words and how they have this deeper meaning and everything else. Yeah, you cannot have like I feel like a lot of times with movies like this, when you look at it with like newer eyes, people want 45 minutes worth of dialogue and like, but that's not what that's not a film. Like that's not what this
So-
movie is. You can't do that. So you have to use it as a way of like putting that point out there and letting the audience hear it and then internally discuss it, right? Or discuss it with your friends or what have you. That's the point of it.
And I would say that it feels like having this type of dialogue in 1958 in a film is a big deal.
It's a super big deal.
It's
a
I mean,
super
so
big
it's just like, you know, I feel like if someone is watching this with 2022 eyes, and if you're seeing this as a critical basic conversation about race, then I feel like you're not respecting the time period in which this was released. I mean, yeah, if you took this movie today and tried to remake it line for line, yeah, I mean, it would be a bit more basic because we've come far in terms of how we talk about race socially. But for this movie to be made in 1958, before even like the Voting Rights Act in the 60s, like to have this kind of conversation with someone like Tony Curtis, who was a big star back then, yo, I mean, you kind of had to give credit where it's due. But I don't think that kind of like nuance would be shown on like social media nowadays if they had to go back to watch this movie.
Right, but also there is a thing about something being a basic conversation. There's a you know, if you're looking at it from 2022 eyes and you're looking at this 1958 film and say, well, this is a very basic conversation. Yes, base is the part of that word that you want to talk about because you don't get to conversations in 2022 without basic starting point conversations like this.
Yep.
These like again, yes, this is Tony Curtis, who is a big star. It almost had Marlon Brando in it, dude. The Godfather, right? Like he read the script and was like, this is something, right? So this idea of putting these two, and you have to remember, Sidney Poitier is the first major black male star in Hollywood. The first, right? So to put these two guys in this story, to have this conversation is a big deal. It is a super big deal. But again, to point out to white people, right? Because black people obviously get this, to point this out to white people and say, hey, these words that you use aren't just throwaway words. They are not just words because society has agreed over time that this is what we just use, nigger, you know, boy and shit like that. Like those words have history and they have meaning and they have weight, right? Like, and it's not just a throwaway term. That's something I would argue a lot of white people, probably even today, don't really think about. Like the term paddy wagon, right? Like people don't
we still have a lot of these like starter conversations. Even today.
You have to.
Like, and
you have to.
We do. I mean, like so even some of that hasn't changed depending on who you talk to or the kind of environment that you're in.
Right.
But I feel like there are people who don't want to admit that part for whatever reason.
Right. Absolutely. All right, let's move on.
These two are just kind of trucking along. They hear some horses and they're like, "Oh shit, we gotta hide. Let's jump into this giant mud pit." And
Yeah, it's like
they fall into it.
No.
Yeah, a clay pit. And they fall into it, and it's raining cats and dogs. And again, these two dudes. Like, I think there were some people who jumped in, but like, you lower the stars in, but then tell the stars to climb their ass out.
Shoot this from behind us, and you get there.
Yeah, shoot this from very far away, guys. Right. I see a scene where it's obvious stuntmen, right? Where it's like, let me get on your knees, or let me climb on your shoulders and shit.
Yeah. Sidney Poitier signed up for that shit.
Yeah, actually, you know what, Mike? I saw this scene and I was like, let me write my think piece right now.
I thought about that too. I was like, oh, the white man gonna stand on the shoulders of a black man to make it. How accurate is that for America? I get it. I see what you're doing, movie. I see it.
Hey man, look, I wouldn't put it past this movie for that to be intentional. You know what I mean?
I think it absolutely is intentional.
Yeah.
This movie's not dumb, man. Like, this movie's not dumb. And eventually, as always, the white man stands on the shoulders of the black man in order to prosper, and reluctantly drags the black man up.
Even though the movie is a black man dragging a white man, kicking and screaming, trying to make it. He just don't want to listen.
A white man literally steps on the shoulders of a black man to quite literally get over the hump. That's
thanks for all that free labor. And then it's like, oh, come on, man.
And to illustrate how black people are forgiving to a fault, Joker has like some sort of wound, and Cullen is like, here, let me see if I can help you with it. And at first he's like, I don't need your help, nigga. But yeah, I kind of do. So go ahead.
Help me.
Do it. And look, to Sidney Poitier's credit, like, all he did was throw some mud on the shit. It was like, bam, there. Now it won't get infected. He like he threw a cow pie on that motherfucker.
Right, like, yo, that's dirt.
Like, that's dirt.
I mean, look, I'm not a scientist or a doctor, but like, mud is dirty. Like, it's real dirty. Nah. Sidney Poitier was trying to set him up. I get it.
And he reluctantly says thanks. And
yeah, which is an important thing, right? Like, it was a real thanks.
Yeah.
Right. And Sidney Poitier is but that word sure does bother you, doesn't it? Like, Sidney, I see what you're doing. Sidney. I see what you're doing. The cops, they're there. They're trying to. I mean, I guess you need the cops here to break up the scenes, because they're not really doing much, right?
No, they don't do nothing.
It is established that, like, there's one dude, the one cop in charge is like, all right, the state trooper is all, by the book to a fault and shit, right? Like, he's a robot, right? And that's not good either. Your police shouldn't be fucking unfeeling, uncaring robots. They should be human beings. And yeah, we just needed to break up the action a bit. Now, the two, Cullen and Joker, they end up at a turpentine camp, where they attempt to break into a general store in hopes of obtaining tools to break the chains. So they had to wait for everybody to kind of go in and go to sleep or whatever. And Sidney Poitier was like, "Well, look at your face, like, nigga, you gonna stick out like the moon."
That shit was hilarious.
Your white skin is a hindrance to us, right? So he was like, "Here, put this on your face," and it was some mud and some shit. And,
I feel like Sidney Poitier kind of enjoyed that shit. He was just like,
"Oh, he definitely did."
Oh, he definitely did, because he fucking
you missed the spot. Pow!
Smack your ass with it. But they also have a like they also have another like conversation here while they're waiting as well, right? Just, you know, sort of like the way it is type of shit, right? And this is where they're actually bonding as two characters, right? Because climbing out of the clay pit was the physical bond. Like, look, we can't just go our separate ways. It doesn't work. We got to get over that bullshit if we're going to survive and make it. This is the social bond part of it, and it's kind of dope to see, because again, a lot of movies like this are not written well as to why. I wouldn't even say at the end they're necessarily friends, but they have some sort of mutual respect for each other. Yeah, and you start to see that sort of bubbling up to the surface in this scene.
Yeah, these two don't solve racism, but they all you need to do is literally walk a mile in someone else's shoes, and that's what these two are literally doing. Yeah, and they realize that they realize that, like, oh shit, like our stories aren't that different, and it's a lesson that that all of us could learn. Yeah, some more than others. Okay.
If only there was a way for the audio listeners to know what you meant. White more than black. Can I spell it out for you? Why people be tripping. There you go.
Yeah, like, I mean, I don't know how else to say it, guys. They try to break into a convenience store or a general store, and they end up being captured by all the people at the turpentine camp.
They're mad loud. They like fall through the roof. What the fuck were you doing?
Man. Like that one time these people robbed a GameStop at Westview. Like they came in through the roof to steal some PSPs. Like, I was like, oh, what kind of Mission Impossible ass shit is this?
Did they get away with it?
Yeah, they did.
All right, respect. They worked at that mall, by the way. They worked at that mall. Yeah, they did. They 100% worked.
They ended up tying somebody up with fucking a video game controller, yo. Like, shut up,
yeah. All right, that's wild. Yeah, that's wild.
Sorry, tangent, but like,
yeah, that's funny.
This shit was funny. So these two get captured, and a lynch mob forms. And there's this one guy. He's all about stringing these motherfuckers up. First of all, he's like, he singles out Sidney Poitier and is like, what the fuck you trying to do? And he's like, you know, they don't say nothing. And then he goes to the white man. White man, he's like, hey, you know, what the fuck, yo? Like, you protecting him or some shit? And the white man's like, look, ain't nobody do nothing. He's like, well, we're gonna lynch you. And it's like, no, you can't lynch me. I'm white.
I'm white, baby. I'm part of the team. That shit.
The way that Sidney Poitier looked in that scene, he was like,
nigga, come on. Really? We climbed out a clay pit together. We were bonded 10 minutes ago. And immediately the white man was like, I'm not with him. I'm chained to him, but I ain't want to be there. But it just proves like their loyalty, like, you know, that whole idea of like, and look, Joker's moment there was like, hey, don't lynch me, I'm white. Like, that's for niggas. Like, knock it off. And maybe Indians, right? But like his whole thing is like he kind of like in that moment, Sidney Poitier is like, oh, you're a real piece of shit. But later on, Joker has another opportunity to deal with that same thing, and that's where his character turn is like, right. Whoa, been here, done that. You know, walked a mile in, you know, this other person's shoes. I see the mistake I made before, which is an important thing to do. If you're going to show character growth, you have to. Yeah,
Jay, I was about to say, like, it sounds like you're describing growth in the movie.
Growth.
Like this. Growth.
Turns out, yeah. I know in like movies about race and shit like that, people don't actually want growth these days. Like, it's weird. right?
Nah,
Like
they want conflict.
What do they
man.
want?
they want conflict all the way to the end, and then it's like nobody learned any lessons. It's like fuck you, and then the two people just walk off to the opposite ends of the stage. It's really weird. But like, if you're gonna show, if like we want growth in society, you have to show people learning things and to be better, right?
Especially when it's against white women.
Man, get that respectability bullshit out of here.
Yeah, like that, but that's not respect. Like, how do like what do you want people to do?
Respectability.
Right, they just yell at
Respectability. If you don't want to kill every white man, if you don't want to kill every white man, woman, and child, then you're doing respectability politics. Get out of it.
Right, like I don't like. What do you want? Like, what do you want them to show? You know, it's wild.
I will say this: I am happy that this character growth came at the expense of a white woman.
But I think that, but that's kind of how you have to do it, right? White people have, because I mean, we've said that on, I mean, this is 215th episode. Like, we have said that numerous times over the years. Like, white people, you have a certain power in society. That is just a fact, right? You know, like it or not. In order for progression to happen into, you know, curb race relations or like negative race relations, white people have to call other white people out. Like, and that's one thing Tony Curtis does. He's like, what the fuck? Like, you have to be like, no, that particular attitude and way you're being is shitty.
Yep.
Like, black people are going to tell white people that all the time, but white people telling white people that is where you actually make progress. And turning them backs on those people. That's what you have to do.
So when Joker's like, you can't lynch me, I'm a white man, and Sidney Poitier was like, nigga, what? And then,
by the way, that should have been the dialogue. Nigga, what?
The guy harassing them, he's like, "Oh, I'll show you what kind of white man you are." Spit. He tells Cullen to spit on Joker. And,
that dude was not acting, by the way.
No, he wasn't.
No, he's real good at this. He's really, really good at it.
It was like, no, you heard me spit on him. And fucking Sidney Poitier, just Poindexter looking nigga just was like, spit right at the guy harassing him in his face. Yo, that's something you got to die for that, yo.
Nah, yo, you're not gonna spit in my face, yo. I'm gonna beat you to where you stand. Yo. Like, nah, yo, no, yo, I don't know. I don't take kindly to disrespect. No, we gotta fight. I don't care how big you are, yo. No,
one guy named Big Sam. He's like, because the guy who got spit on, he sucker punches Cullen, and Big Sam is like, all right, that's enough, right? And he's the voice of reason. He's like, what? Oh, you all want to kill these people? You want to murder these people? Well, here, take it. Are you gonna do it? No, you're not gonna do it. Here, you grab this axe. You gonna do it? Huh? Here, grab this torch. You that got spit on, grab this torch. You want to burn him to death? Grab this torch. And then that motherfucker was like, okay. And he was like, whoa.
Trying to prove a point. Relax.
Right. I was trying to prove a point. But I think Big Sam forgot that guy got spat on, and that shit is still on his face.
Yeah, he was still ready.
I'm gonna burn his ass. Like, you don't give the torch to the guy who just got spat on, yo. No. Like, what are you doing? Yeah, he convinces the mob to disperse by saying, "Look, we'll tie him up. I'll take him to the cops in the morning." And then he secretly lets them go super early in the morning because he was not a fellow inmate, but he has been on a chain gang before. He's been in prison before. He knows what these guys are going through. He knows what jail is like. And he's like, look, I know you motherfuckers do not want to go back to jail. I wouldn't want to go back to jail. Get the fuck out of here.
I had a feeling that maybe he was also an escapee. Right?
Yeah,
like not just in a chain gang, but he had also escaped, right?
Yeah.
Because just because you're in a chain gang doesn't mean like your wrist is going to be all fucked up like that. But maybe but I felt like the whole idea when they showed it was like, nah, yo, I escaped and now I work in this turpentine little town. Like, don't tell nobody type of shit. But I did enjoy Sidney Poitier's character being like, can we get that crowbar? And he was like, don't push your luck, boy. Like, I'm gonna let y'all out, but I ain't gonna give you no crowbar. Like, knock that shit off.
I mean, look, I get it. Don't ask, don't get. I 100% understand.
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So Sidney Poitier was like, I'm gonna ask. Fuck that.
So they're running, right? They are fleeing. They fled, and they get to a point where they're just like exhausted, right? And Sidney Poitier pulls out a cigarette and he starts to smoke it and shit. And Joker's like, come on, man, puff, puff, pass, right? You know, you fucking up the rotation. And Sidney Poitier is like, all right, go ahead, here it is. And then Joker like literally pinches a bit of it off, you know what I mean? Like kind of rubs it, you know what I mean? Yeah. And he's like, and Sidney Poitier is like, he knocks that shit right out of his mouth. And it's just like, what, you afraid you're going to catch my color? Because, I mean, like, I get it, but at the same time, like, no, you just had that in your mouth, yo.
You're right. At the same time, you're like, that's just dirt.
No, but it's my understanding that people who smoke cigarettes, like, they just like pass it around like a doobie, so to speak.
Don't do that. God. Just don't. Yeah, just don't.
I don't know. You two smoke, right?
I don't smoke.
I don't smoke.
You two do recreational drugs.
I don't smoke drugs.
I don't smoke.
Yeah, that's all. I don't smoke. I didn't say anything about what you said. I just said I don't smoke. Seems like a poor way to do drugs. Anyway, there are much better ways. But yeah, so after Sidney Poitier knocks they start fighting.
Yeah, man. They start this is like 1950s like acting fighting, which, you know, yeah, like it's the most intense fucking whiffs and the most intense fake punches I've ever seen. And they try to kill each other. And all of a sudden, here comes fucking Dennis the Menace over here, and he's got a fucking gun, and he's like, "Put up your hands!
I'm gonna take you to Mr. Wilson's house."
And he comes up and you know, there's these two grown men, and this dude's got like a repeater, and that looks like it shoots pellets, and they're like, you know, these are two grown men. Of course they could take them, right? So Cullen knocks the gun out, and fucking Joker pushes the kid, yo. Like, god damn.
The fuck
like, he fucking just mushes the shit out of this kid, knocks him unconscious because the stupid boy hits his head on the goddamn rock. And you know, because we are caring, loving people to a fault, Sidney Poitier tries to wake this kid up, and when this kid opens his eyes, first thing he sees is a beautiful black man. And he's just like, ah!
He trying to kill me.
He runs to the heel of the white man. It's like, protect me, white man.
I would like I'd have checked the back of his head. Is it bleeding? Nah, he probably be all right. We gotta go.
Also,
I shot that little kid, man.
Let me just say this: that little boy.
It's only so much of that shit, man. It's only so much of this shit I can take, yo.
Help me! You know what? All right, Joker, stand over there for a second.
Also,
we murder this white child in the South.
This child was not acting.
No, he was not. This kid grew up to be.
Because he was actually pretty good at it.
No, this kid grew up to be Ron DeSantis. It's weird. Yeah, no, I wouldn't help that kid. Like I'd be like, all right, is he bleeding? He ain't bleeding.
Yeah, it's time to go, yo. It's time to go.
Fuck that kid.
But you know, we are caring, loving people to a fault. So
sometimes a little too much.
Yeah. So the kid's name is Billy.
Interesting. Go ahead.
And Billy leads him to his
Billy
mom.
With a Y. Billy with a Y.
Billy leads him to his mom, and he's like, "Oh, you know, they're just these two guys. There's these two strange men I found out in the woods. Can we keep them?" Like, wait, what?
Yeah, chained together. Nothing weird about that.
Yeah. Well, he was like, "Yeah, why y'all chained together?" He's like, "Yeah, are you taking him to prison?" Like, Are you
Nigga.
taking a black man to prison? Like, motherfucker, we wearing the same goddamn outfit, yo. Like, what? Yo, fuck you. Fuck you, kid.
Right.
Fuck you.
Like,
damn.
Like, fundamentally, yo, go fuck yourself, kid. Go fuck yourself.
And so they because you know I'm right. That's why you laughing like that. Because you know I'm right. Like,
No,
fuck
you're
that
not
kid,
wrong.
man.
No, you're not wrong.
Yeah, that's exactly why I'm laughing. Yeah.
Fuck Billy. Really get on my goddamn nerves.
Yeah. With a Y.
Also,
Continue.
Were you gonna say something? I don't want to cut you off, Black Queen. I don't want to cut you off.
thank you, thank you, King. I was going to say, Billy also a villain in this film.
Billy is not
It's
a villain.
true. Yes,
He's not a villain.
yes, he is. Like he literally. I will get there.
Billy don't know
protect
what the
his
hell they
mama.
want.
No, Billy doesn't know.
Yeah,
what
Billy trying to protect
It's-
Billy trying to protect their mother.
You mean the mama who was ready to drop him off at a relative's house for some random?
we'll
ass-
get there.
She was going double back. She was going double back in a couple of days after she got her nut off on
Look, let me tell you something, Tiara. Let me tell you something, Tiara. As a parent, you don't know what the fuck it's like, okay? You really don't. Sometimes you gotta drop those motherfuckers off so you can bust a fucking nut in peace. You don't have to worry about some
They
kid
were going to
running
go to.
in.
But do you need to go busting that all the way in Rio?
You do what you got. You get in where you can fit in. That's all.
Right. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Like, get the fuck out
Yeah.
of
Okay.
here.
So just drop your kids over at your relative's house, and then go fuck some random person and go.
Not
and offer
well,
to go
in her case,
and
yes,
offer-
but that's not always the case. It's not always the case.
All right, so they go, they meet the mom. The mom is, she's lonely. She tends to their
thirsty by
wounds.
modern terms, if you will.
Yes,
She's practically gagging for it, as they would say in Mission Impossible 2.
Oh my god!
Dude, she is. Yo,
Billy
come
is
on.
like,
She might as well be humping the chairs they're sitting in. It's ridiculous.
She saw Johnny walk in and was like, "That's the one. That's the one that's going to save me."
She was like, "I want it. I want all of it."
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
you can tell. Yeah, you could tell this was originally written for Marlon Brando. To
Oh,
be
100%. Just throw her underwear at that dude's face as he walked in the room. Like, get the fuck out of here.
Like, but you don't even know my name. I don't. That doesn't matter. Like, that doesn't matter. I can learn it on the way.
That's right. You're right. Right.
So she's tending to them, or more specifically, she's tending to the white man, and at the behest of the white man, she reluctantly tends to the black man because she is a racist and a bigot. And
As you do.
And meanwhile, Billy's off to find a hammer and chisel. The two men are free of their bondage. They spend the night. The mother finally gets some good old fashioned white dick, and she is in love. She uses this opportunity to be like, oh, thank God, I maybe this white man can carry me from this squalor that I live in now.
Where was her husband again? I know she was like he only come
he
around
left.
like every like.
He just bailed.
Oh, okay.
He rolled out.
Yes.
He abandoned them because his wife is a fucking bitch.
I mean,
Get out of here, lady.
I mean, she threw it down for some dude who just showed up chained to another dude. She was just like, let's get it on.
And he didn't shower,
Yeah,
yo.
and she became
No, hell no, he ain't shower.
no, he
Like
ain't shower. Get out of here.
this nigga was dirty, and she was still like,
She was down.
all right, I'm down.
She's DTF, down to fled. Or whatever.
So
Down to flee.
so the infection that that Joker got earlier in the movie that was treated by a cow pie is affecting Joker, and he needs to be tended to. So, of course, he gets the bed, and Sidney Poitier has to sleep at the kitchen table or whatever. In the morning, they while he's bedridden, they he tells a story of I don't know, he's spitting some white man game, right? Like, I mean, white man game is just like, man, all the riches and the money and all this, all this fucking nonsense, right?
Like when I get rich, I'm gonna buy you a pair of earrings and a necklace at the mall randomly. And she was like, "Oh shit, really?" He's like, "I love you, girl." And she was like, "All right." And then she gave it up.
Right, because it don't take much for some people.
Yes.
And
go to Claire's, hook it up.
Shut up.
No, he just talked about going to see tall buildings, and that was she was like, "This nigga is spitting fire to me."
I mean,
absolute fire.
He could have rolled up and said, "I'm a CEO at CEO."
Yeah, and CEO at bullshit.inc. And she was like, "Hell yeah, let's rock and roll."
So in the morning, the two white people are outside. She mentions that she has a car, and she's like, "Yo, I got to get the fuck out of this podunk ass town, or this stupid ass farm. Take me to see some big buildings." And he's like, "Well, I'm going to Rio." It's like, "Well, we can go together." And it's like, "Well, no." She's like, "Well, I got a car." She's like, "What?"
Yo, he was just like, conversation ended. He just ran. He was like, "You got a car? A CAR? Are you serious? I gotta go." This nigga ran in there so fast. He held the hood of the car up with a gun. He was just like, "Just put this shit in there. Start it up. Hurry up."
I was like, "Yo, what if it only takes one accident for all y'all to die if that gun goes off?" But okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
Sure.
It's fine. It's fine.
So they're talking about like, "Hey, we can leave," and Joker's like, "Well, what about my boy over there?" And this white woman is like, "Who? Lady Macbeth over here is like, fuck him." It'll be easier for us as posing as man and woman to go than salt and pepper. You know what I mean? Like, they're gonna be looking for both of y'all. Meanwhile,
and she didn't even say you could put him in the back seat. She was like, "Fuck him forever."
She was even like, his chances may even be better by himself. Don't you agree? I'm like, bitch, no, they won't be better. What are you talking about?
Nah, yo, Mikey, you're absolutely right, yo. This is some Lady Macbeth bullshit. Like, it really is, yo. It really is. His chances will be better. How? On foot in the South? Nah, he'd be good.
Yo,
he'd be good.
And
car might slow him down.
And how quickly she was ready to dispose of her own son. She was like, "I can drop him off at my brother's house in Cumberland. Like, I'll just, I feel like or whatever."
Look, I don't know if this term existed in 1958, but I feel like she might have been suffering from being dickmatized. Like, she was wilding. Just get rid of her own kid. She was like, "Oh, we double back like in a month or whatever, or don't like whatever."
Maybe 18 years though.
She was like, "I make a new one. I make a new one. Don't worry about it."
Yeah, he was like, "Yo, you don't even know me and my name." And she was like, "That's okay. Like, they call me Johnny. I'm like, "Yo, what is wrong with you? You're a crazy lady."
So right before that, like, Sidney Poitier appears like a spook, right? And he
who was literally standing by the door.
He was standing by he was standing by the door with another one of them patented, nigga, what the fuck are you doing? Looks on his face with a cigarette in his mouth. And because he overheard the conversation, right? And they all go back in the house, and she's like, "Look, you trying to get to where you got to go, you can take the long way, or you can go take a shortcut through a swamp." And he's like, all right. I mean, is it safe? He's like, oh yeah. It's only like a foot deep. Like, yeah, go ahead. And at this point, I'm like, yo, this fucking bitch is being real friendly all of a sudden. Don't trust white women, black man. But he, this is 1958. He doesn't know any better yet. So he leaves, and he's got she made some sandwiches or whatever. He took a bag. He took his bag lunch before he went off to swamp school or whatever. And meanwhile, all the white people are real happy and
they whistling Dixie and shit. Like, y'all seem a little too go down the swamp. You be good. Don't worry about it.
And Joker picks up his shackles because he's grown to like Cullen. And he's like, oh, I hope he makes it okay. And or something to that effect. And no, he says, I hope the cops don't catch him. And the woman's like, oh no, they won't. And he was like,
she was awfully sure about that.
Wait, what? Yeah, he was like, how you know? He's like, well, because I sent him off to die. Like, what the fuck, bitch? Like, you sent my friend off to die? He's like, well, what if he got caught? And then he would tell him. He always like, tell him what? Tell him. Soldier Boy, tell him. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's like, well, I did it for us, so we can be together. You and me. You, man, and me. I don't even know her name.
White woman.
Yeah, I don't even know her name.
I think it's white woman.
And
crazy lady who lives in a cabin.
This is when Joker is like, yo, you don't even know me, yo. You don't know me.
You don't know me.
You don't love me. You just love my doggy style. And it's late, guys. I'm trying to hurry up and get through this. And she is just like, oh, what are you so excited for the Negro for?
No, she used an even word. She said Nigra. I was like, oh, that's when white people thought they were saying something nice. Like, that was like saying nigga was like some like podunk poor white people shit. So like white people who wanted to sound more like high society would say nigger. Like, no, you a piece of shit too. So now I get off. Yeah, and she starts making out with Joker, and her fucking son walks in. He's like, the fuck? And she's like, oh, you like him, don't you? He your new daddy now. He was like, all right, ma, I guess. I don't know. I don't really go to school or nothing.
So they have this big fucking argument, and she does the white woman playbook, the thing that's been done for decades. Just turns on the tears to try and get sympathy and shit. She's like, oh, Johnny, I'm begging you, please take me with you, please. I can't stand Billy. He gets on my goddamn nerves. And fucking Johnny's just like, yo, get away, yo. Like, he grabs her and slams her down. And Billy, as a good son, is just like, what you do to my mama? And he grabs a gun and shoots that nigga. Like, yeah, of course, right?
He did more for his mama than his mom would have ever done for him.
Yo, your mom was getting ready to dump your ass off at your uncle's house for some free
random dick.
Right. Some free dirty dick in 1958. Some scurvy shit. Yeah, no, your mom don't love you.
The cops end up going to Billy and his mom's house, and even she's just like, I don't know nothing. She's like, well, what were they doing here? Nothing you could put them in jail for, you piece of shit cop.
Yeah,
like, damn.
Like, white people ain't really fucking with cops back then.
It's like, no. Yeah, and they just forgot about that shit. Like, they just forgot about it.
Yeah.
This is weird to me.
Probably happened after they left.
So,
you know what? Never mind. Go ahead. They shouldn't have let so many Irish people into the police force. That's all I'm saying. That's where Patty Wagon goes from. That was the problem.
So
Never letting it go.
Joker's trying to warn. He's yelling and screaming for Cullen, right? Because he's trying to warn him, and it's like, hey, bro, like that woman, she fucking lied to you, bro, and they were like, all right, well, if we go this way, we could still catch the train. Like, they hear the train whistling in the background. Right. The two guys are running. Because Cullen has an extra bone in his foot, he's able to run faster. He's
a fast twitch.
Joker,
slow twitch.
Is fast twitch muscle fibers. He's got Joker has his injury, so he can't quite make it. Like they do the symbolic shot of the black hand once again, the black hand trying to drag the white hand along to the promised land.
Yep.
And once again, the white hand just, I can't remember, did he drag him down or he couldn't?
No,
basically
the black hand was forced to jump off the train to be with the white man because he didn't want to leave his buddy behind.
What you're saying is that the black man gave up what you could probably say a freedom ride or a ride to freedom.
Freedom train.
Freedom train.
An above ground railroad, if you will. Go ahead.
The above ground railroad. Just so he could be with his white criminal friend.
Yeah.
Let me get my let me just get my think piece ready. So that
you gotta hit him with them hot tweets. Like Sidney Poitier sold out black people in 1958. So why do we even support him now? Like, or some bullshit, right?
Actually,
Medium article.
I was going with that. I was about to be like, we need to have a conversation about Sidney Poitier's actual role in Hollywood and how he held back black people back in 1958.
Yes, exactly.
We
won an Oscar for helping 5 white nuns. How convenient.
So I just watched it. They grab each other. They're holding on. But Joker's hand slips out, and then the scene cuts to both of them falling.
Right. So he basically he wasn't going to leave his buddy. I mean, that's kind of what it is.
Yeah, he wasn't going to leave him, but at the same time, like kind of dragged him down,
I mean, okay, so
it's much like a Michael Bay movie. A white man is dragging a black man down into some bullshit.
Yeah, can't wait to see Ambulance. Looks great. It's gonna be awesome. But yeah, I mean, it's this idea, right? Like, what does that symbolize? Which to me is clearly like black people, even Twitter hot takes aside, like black people, even in their moment of making it, to the promised land, we feel the need to go, not necessarily go back and help white people, but we realize that we cannot necessarily get there on our own, right? Like, it has to be a joint effort. If the roles were reversed, Tony Curtis would have been like, peace, nigga, gotta go, right? Yeah. Like, they just keep going forward. But we realize that you literally cannot move a society forward. We cannot reach the promised land all alone. Like, we can't. Like, that's just not how society is set up. It doesn't work, right? And that's kind of how I read it. And I'm sure the other people would read it as him sacrificing himself stupidly. But it's supposed to be. I think it's supposed to be symbolic of what society is at this time, and unfortunately still is today. I don't think we make it.
I don't think he wanted to necessarily be with his buddy. I think he legit, because we're a loving, caring people to a fault, I think he is literally trying to. I think he's really trying to help.
Yeah. But
because he helped, that's why he fell.
Okay. That's a fair read.
I don't think that. Because like at some point, like, that would be weird, right? Like, that would be weird for him to be like, oh, you can't make it. Well, now I gotta be with him. You know what I mean? Like, that's odd. Like, that goes against human nature. I can't imagine literally anybody doing that.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, they're not chained
don't-
together. They're not chained together, right? Like
No, they're not. They're not. But he is legit making an honest effort to try and pull this guy up.
Right. And just falling over by that.
And right. And he fell over because he made but not oh, you didn't make it? Oh, okay. Well, I'm secure here, but because you didn't make it, I'm gonna jump off and be with you. Like, no, fuck that, yo. Like, no, he didn't do that shit.
Like Tony.
I think right. I think that
Fade in the background.
what I'm saying here is that black men, I'm specifically speaking to black men, because I don't think that this is something that black men do. Black men, we need to be more selfish. If we could be more selfish,
is it even possible?
Is
it even possible? Sure it is.
I'm joking, by the way. I'm joking. My actual thought is, black people kind of help. We help to a fault. That's why I've been saying that throughout the entire episode. We are loving, caring people to a fault. And I think this scene illustrates that.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah. I think you're right. And then they're fucking sitting there, and Sidney Poitier is singing, and then the sheriff walks up.
That ending,
yeah.
I thought one of them was going to die.
Me too.
I thought Tony Curtis's character was going to die.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad they did. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That ending. Actually, no. I guess I would just ask you: do you think that ending would play well?
Fuck no. Are you kidding me? A black man holding an injured white man
while singing, and then caught by the cops.
And they were just like, "Hey, y'all, nah, yo," and
then fade to black.
Nah, I don't see it.
The end.
No, I don't see Yahya Abdul-Mateen holding Jake Gyllenhaal at the end of Ambulance, just singing as the police come. No, I just don't see it.
I think the singing is, one, it's a callback to the beginning of the movie.
Right.
And two, it's a callback to him being quote unquote defiant, right? In the face of the law, right? Like when he's in the back of the wagon, he's singing even though he's not supposed to, but he's just like, fuck you, I'm singing. Like, this is my thing. Right. And, once again, the law comes up. He sees, and they know they're caught, but like, fuck it, what you gonna do, right? I mean, they could shoot your ass for no reason, but that's all it is, right? But I hear what you guys are saying, right? Like the short-sighted approach to that is, they just see a black man singing, cradling a white man, they think it's like some Steve and Calvin Candy shit,
right? Right.
Yes.
And it's not at all.
And just lose and just forget about the hour and 33 minutes that they saw before.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I don't want to see a black man embracing a white man singing a happy song. Get out of here. But yeah, no, I think you're right. I think the point is that he is defiant to the very end. You're not going to tell me what I can do. I'm going to do what I want to do.
So,
look, I like
this
this
really
movie.
good movie, man.
Yeah, I thought it was very good.
It's a really good movie.
Yeah. Is this the Green Book of its time?
No, this is good.
But like, I could see people putting this in the same category as Green Book, right?
Yeah.
If you're looking at it from a very basic perspective, I could totally see that.
Yeah.
There was no point at which Tony Curtis taught him how to eat chicken, so that was cool.
No, but they did share frog legs, so
which is close enough because it tastes like chicken.
Look, this is their Kentucky Fried Chicken moment. I'm just saying. No, I like this movie. I like Sidney Poitier. I think he is amazing in everything. To be honest, like you said, he's got that tone of his delivery that I think really worked, and in a way, it fits the title of the movie. Like he just sounds defiant in everything that he does, right? Because he's just like he's got this this authoritative voice, and it's like you're supposed to be meek. You're supposed to put your head down and do what we tell you, whether it's Tony Curtis or the cops or whatever. And he's like, nah, fuck that. I'll just do what I want. And this is the second. Well, this is the third Sidney Poitier movie we've done, and in every one of them, he has basically told someone of authority to kind of go fuck themselves in one way or the other. In the heat of the night, he backhanded that white
shit
dude.
out of Endicott, man. Like,
Wow.
Jesus Christ.
He talked shit to the
Endicott
cop.
smacked him,
Wait.
and he smacked him right back. Yo, I loved it.
Yeah.
Did y'all do A Raisin in the Sun?
No, we haven't done that.
No.
And then, what was it? Guess Who's Coming to Dinner? He lit into his own father for his bullshit. It was amazing. So, yeah, like, and then in this movie, he spat directly in that one guy's face, which is not cool if I was that guy, but I'm not. I'm a black man watching it. It was great. So,
Yeah, I loved it.
yeah, big fan. It's the only time I'm cool with someone spitting in someone's face. But yeah, it's interesting. Like, he always has those kind of moments of like, oh, you're the authority character. I'm going to push back on you directly, which is kind of dope. So, yeah, I think that's it. Any other closing remarks for episode 215?
I'm good.
Nope.
All right. Okay, that's episode 215. The Defiant Ones. We will be back next week with another preview episode for Black and Black Cinema. We'll see you guys next time.
See ya.
Bye.
You're watching the Black on Black Cinema YouTube channel. Make sure you check out our full reviews of black movies, past and present. And every other week, we do a preview episode where we talk about a random topic that affects the black community.